Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020, Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner, given out with the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also host the only online conversation, online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And as always, I like to say, you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles. Solution for someone's problem. Welcome to the Morning Vibe on August 8th. Good morning, Ryan Knight.
Good day, Dr. Vibe. Always a pleasure to be here. And hey, for those that don't know who I am, my name is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. We work with entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to figure out what stage their business is in today, and then help them create a blueprint to grow their companies exponentially. I'm an entrepreneur myself. I run a company called Detailing Nights. So we provide mobile waterless car cleaning, going to people's houses or their offices, cleaning their cars on the spot without water, and our eco-friendly plant-based cleaning supplies. And I'm also rocking the PACU shirt, stands for the Pan-African Credit Union, that is their application is into FISRA. So if we want to see a Black-led and Black-serving financial institution come into being, the community has to support. And if you can go to pacu.ca and pledge, we'll be able to get this off the ground, and at least we'll have an alternative to what we currently have. But hey, brother, good to see you as always. And it was nice getting to see you in person in 3D.
I don't know. 3D sounds too big, but we go before we go any further. Just want to say that this morning's episode of the Morning Vibe is sponsored by the Macmillan Group. They've been providing mortgage solutions one client at a time since 1999. Buying, refinancing, or investing, call them at 905-813-4354 in Canada or 904-586-5636. So I just wanted to make sure we get the sponsor here, and they're doing their thing. So
yes,
there we go. Yes, we did see each other.
Right. Yes.
That's true. Actually, one other thing, I just want to also put on the banner here. That's the contact information for the Macmillan Group. So Canada, US, even toll-free, and the website also. So just want to make sure we take care of things there.
Yes.
All right. Yes, we did see each other. There was a sighting.
Yes. So shout out to Christopher Lawrence and his frequency event promotions pop-up. It was lovely getting to see the different vendors, also interacting with people that came through. I know a few students from TDSB. We got to chat with them about possibly working with Detailing Nights. And a couple interesting services. Met a gentleman that does websites and also develops. So it's always good networking. But how did you find the event?
Well, one of the things that was really nice, it was in Scarborough. So I didn't have too far to drive, but like a 10-15 minute drive. It was great.
Nice.
Liked the space, loved the energy, met a number of great business people. I don't like to say entrepreneurs, they're business people. The majority of them Black business women. So that was good to see. When I came in, there's a lady I'm actually mentoring that is there, and she is her partner is a gentleman who I used to work with 25 years ago at TELUS Mobility.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, I hadn't seen him since that time, and in the last year, we've ran into each other twice. So
Gotcha.
it was really good. It was good to see her. That she goes, Dr. Vibe, Dr. Vibe. I'm going, okay.
Yes.
But it was really good to see her, and it's an honor and pleasure to mentor her. I won't mention her name, and really good to see her partner there. Very good guy, and actually, he was with ClearNet before it came TELUS, so he's been there a
I
long
did
time.
not know it used to be ClearNet.
Yeah, and it's funny thing.
Yes.
How many Black individuals do you know have been with the same company for 30 years, especially in telecommunications?
Right.
So it's great to meet her. Actually, one of the I can't remember the name of her company, but I'm at a great organization from Invisible to Visible Therapy, and they do counseling and therapy sessions for people of color. And the fun again, I actually was sitting right across from you, and this lady comes up and starts looking at me and going, "Stalker." She goes, "Are you Dr. Vibe?" I go, "Today I am," and she said, "Oh, do you remember me?" Oh, frequency saying Carol Sandy. I don't know what company that is aligned to, but I'm sure frequency will say that. So good morning, Marlon Stephen, by the way. Hello. And she said, you don't remember me, but we were interviewed on CTV News Channel 3 years ago, both of us. I go, oh,
gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we talked, and we chatted a bit, and then went over to the table, had a great conversation with her and two of her team. Had a great conversation. So we're seeing if they can come on. Oh, Carol Sandy. Right. Thank you. Carol Sandy. That's the individual's name I was speaking with. Thank you. I need to write that down on their card because I didn't give me her name. So always have a pen ready. Carol Sandy. Yes. And then I didn't get really too much around the room. Then it was the Finance IQ that does coaching with finances and things that.
Camille.
Yeah. And I told her, you need to watch last Friday's conversation with Wayne Harris.
True. Yes.
And so everyone I met there, just a tip here for family, everyone I met there, I've already sent them a video thank you.
Oh, listen, and that's where people typically after these types of events drop the follow-up and don't follow through and actually touch base with those people that you get their information, you get their business card. So yeah. And I like the video message. That is a good touch.
I shared with one or two people the power of the video message to go, hey,
yeah.
Hadn't heard that before. So I told them, okay, well, so that's how I followed up with them through video messaging. So they're going, so they see it in action. So it was a great event. I only thought I was going to stick around there for an hour. So I spent like 3 or 4 hours, which messed up the stuff I was supposed to do on site. But I didn't care. I was hanging out. I was hanging out with my people and having a good time. So kudos to Christopher. Fitnance IQ, Camille Smith. See, he's on the ball. And frequency of everyone saying, pleasure seeing Vibe and Night of the Kid. Well, it was my pleasure. Turn off your thing there. You're getting the echoing going on. Right. So it was great. How was your experience there?
Yeah, being both a sponsor and a vendor. So the Afro-Caribbean Business Network, ACBN, we were able to sponsor the event. We also were able to sponsor some of the tables. So entrepreneurs were able to take part. And shout out to Lisa and oh my gosh, the other lady, and Christopher helped me, the one that does the candles. So I got the most amazing candle that smells like birthday cake, and I can't stop smelling it.
It smells like birthday cake.
It's amazing. I'm telling you. I don't know how she got a birthday cake into this candle, but Lisa, she does
like birthday cake.
I'm telling I can't believe it.
You're playing me.
I will share it with you. Actually, I'll try and buy one online and ship it to you because I can't stop smelling this thing. And we put it in the kitchen on the like dining room table. And so you just have this smell of birthday cake in the room.
Okay.
It's amazing.
See, Krister's on what? Alexis Rain.
Yes. No, but that's the name of the company. I think her name is Sandy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Sandy.
Okay.
Yeah. So really getting to touch base. Shout out to the DJ that was there, and Christopher could put his name. It was I forgot his name, but
it's all right. It's all right.
Wonderful vibe. Wonderful vibe.
Yeah. Good morning, Tim Frey. Tim, you're like the silent assassin, Tim. I was in a 3.5 hour conversation yesterday. Your name came out 2 or 3 times. In good, by the way.
Nice. Yes.
So is Alexis Rain business owner Sandy?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So that's one of the birthday the candles.
All right. Beautiful. Sounds like birthday cake. Wow. chocolate birthday cake?
Well, this one was vanilla. Well, I don't know, but
all right.
What I could smell is, the icing that goes on the cake?
Yeah.
That's what was coming through for me. I was like, how did you get this into a candle? And something else
DJ Lennox.
Yes. Okay. Something else that was happening on the weekend. So shout out to COFP, the Canadian Association of Urban Financial Professionals. It was their 25th anniversary. They did a networking event downtown. So I was able to pop by and say hi to them. Sunday.
Oh, Sunday. Good.
Yeah, the next day.
Saturday was madness. One of the reasons I went to the place thing in Scarborough, I wanted nothing to do with downtown Toronto on Saturday. There was the Drake OVO thing. There was Lady Gaga. There was a Toronto Argonauts game. There was a Blue Jays game in the afternoon. But I know people that went to, and there was actually stuff going on at Harborfront. So traffic was but I think traffic's always a mess. I wanted nothing to do with that mess.
And it was Jamaica's 60th.
Yeah, 60th too.
So that was big events were happening around that.
This was the heavy weekend outside of Ameribana of the weekend. So I think that this was, and I think probably there was more traffic this weekend than last weekend because there's a heck of a lot more events going on, especially on the Saturday.
Right, in different areas. Yeah, that was
exactly. It was. So, how was the event yesterday?
It was nice. I got to talk with the new president of COFP, Halima. Got to talk with the previous president, Delmar. When I was on the board, so I was on the board the last round as the director of membership. So. Yep. Big fan of COFP and really talking and networking. Again, I feel like I'm still strengthening my networking muscles. There's some rust there. So, the awkward, it's just a room and people are kind of already engaged and you have to kind of, sit near, grab a drink.
Man. Shoot your shot. Shoot your shot. Look, I know the only people I knew on SETI were yourself and Christopher.
Yes.
And I did know Joanne from her aromatherapy thing. I don't remember. Maybe Christopher can help me about Joanne's business, Joanne Brathwaite's business. I mentioned her name and her partner, but I didn't know anyone else. And after that, it was just some people were saying, "Where are you, the comedian?" I said, "No, I'm not the comedian. No, I'm not."
Yes.
I'm not Jay Martin. Sorry, Jay is more handsome than me.
Oh, I think he's working on a movie. We gotta hear about that.
He is awesome. Working on a movie. He is, and there's a lot to know about that. Well, we're bantering around, and the guests we have today is going, "Come on, stop bantering. Let's get down to me. Let's pay attention to me." So let you introduce. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So you may remember we've had this guest on before. I'd say, inspired by him being in the biotechnology field, and I was sharing with him before my son. He wants to be a scientist, so hey, now I know a scientist, and the stuff that he's working on, it's starting to really amplify. He's overseas now in Europe, so we wanted to reach back out to Sean Thompson from Psigryph to get an update. And again, for those that may have missed the first episode, learn a bit more about the space that you're in. So glad to have you on again, brother.
Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, Dr. Vibe. Thank you for having me.
Oh, our pleasure.
Our pleasure. So what's been going on since we last chatted?
Yeah, a lot of things have been going on. You know, you put a lot of different irons in the fire and you're not sure which ones are going to come to fruition. And,
True.
you know, I think the biggest thing is that this group in Switzerland reached out to us at the beginning of the year, so in January, and invited us to apply to this climate tech focused, food tech focused accelerator in Europe, here in Switzerland. And I never, in my wildest dreams, thought that I would be living in Switzerland for 4 months at the beginning of this year. I mean, it's unbelievable. So we applied. There were a little over 1,100 companies that applied. 300 were interviewed by executives from a group of companies that are backing this accelerator. And then 100 were invited to come to Switzerland for a 4-month residency program. So here I am.
Whoa, 100 companies are there? Whoa.
Yeah, and not all are staying here the whole time. There's mandatory events each month. So there's basically 1 week per month that you have to be here. Then some people are doing things online, but it's just much better to be here because a lot of the events, they start 9 a.m. here, which is 3 a.m. in Toronto. So you can't really participate in the same way.
So just before we get a bit deeper into, I guess, what the accelerator is walking you through, can you give the audience a bit of a background on the company and I guess what you focus on?
Yes, sure, absolutely. So the company Psigryph started 4.5 years ago. So 5 years ago, I met a professor of plant agriculture at the University of Guelph. And up to that point, I'd been in the biotech, biopharmaceutical industry and sort of looking at different drugs, different vaccines. And I was introduced to this person through a lawyer that I know in Kitchener. And I just loved the science of what I saw. I saw a plant-derived delivery system for drugs, essentially, is what I saw. That's non-toxic, biodegradable, really efficient. So science was really good. Liked the professor, we got along well, and we decided to start the company 4.5 years ago. And in the course of talking to people, we learned that this technology has applications in food. I think we knew that there was some in food, but agriculture is what we really didn't appreciate at the time. Some sort of pesticides and animal nutrition. There's a whole bunch of things that can be done with this. So we start with sour cherries. We create tiny little nanoparticles from the sour cherries and then attach molecules to them to make food more nutritious, to make pesticides more efficient, to make drugs more efficient, a lot of different things we could do. So that's the story in a nutshell. And, the first 3 years, I got to tell you, was tough. We had no money. I was draining my bank account as entrepreneurs do.
Yes.
Trying to knock on doors for investors and potential partners that could use this technology. And then at the beginning of last year, everything changed. And it changed because I think, one, we've gotten enough feedback that we knew where to go, where the market was.
Right.
And some friends of mine from my university days that I've stayed in touch with put a couple of $100,000 of their money into the company. And from there, we multiplied that with government grants from the provincial and federal governments, and that just continues. We continue to get more and more grants, and we're rolling along.
And I don't want to dig too deep into kind of the personal conversations, but the friends and family round is typically the round that I would say our community misses when we're starting our businesses and looking to grow it.
Yeah.
What was the conversation like with your friend where you're like, I'm working on this thing? Was it easy to kind of get them on board with the concept, or was it like a difficult conversation?
So interestingly, I never wanted to bring it up to them, and nor did I brought up the company and what I was doing, but the thought of them investing was not something that I had approached them for. But what happened was, because of COVID, these guys, we usually have one weekend per year where we get together at somebody's cottage, or we go to Vegas or something. And because of COVID, we started a Saturday night call in March of 2020. And because we were all locked down, and there's guys all over the world, guy in Australia, all over Canada, all over the US. So we'd have the Saturday night call where we just updated each other on what's going on in our lives, and how COVID's affecting our communities, and so on. And then by December, a group of them asked me if they could invest, because they had seen the progress that we had been making. And at first I thought they were joking, but then, I sent them a note and said, okay, if you're serious, we can do something here. And within a few weeks, I had the money in the bank.
Love that.
I have a few conversation points.
Sure.
I love one of my mantras ever since the pandemic was don't waste the crisis. So let me ask you this conversation piece. Do you think you'd be where you are now if the pandemic didn't happen?
I honestly do not. I think it would have taken even longer. So the pandemic at first slowed us down by a few months, because we had signed our first R&D agreement with an American company to test our material with their product that they wanted to deliver. It arrived at the University of Guelph on the Friday before everything shut down. So, we had thought 2 weeks later we'd have the data and we'd be off to the races. But we shut down, they shut down, everything shut down for, as you know, basically 3 months, until some of the labs, some of the essential workers were starting to go back. But what happened was that the conferences, where you would have to pay a couple $1,000s, go to another city, pay for a hotel, they all switched to online. And they were free. So this model of paying for online conferences hadn't emerged yet. So because we were able to go to several conferences, and remember, I'm paying for this out of my own money. Like we didn't have any investors or grants or anything at that point. We were able to speak to some big companies very quickly, and because all of their workers were at home, we could get 10 people from 3 different sites on a Zoom call, and we got amazing feedback. So that made a huge difference in the second half of 2020. It opened our eyes to so many things. And as I mentioned, my friends as well, the conversations with my friends, that accelerated things. They knew what was going on. So yeah, it would have taken longer for sure.
So I just want everyone who's watching this live on replay, not everyone stood still or regressed during the pandemic.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So that's why I say don't waste the crisis. So see, you saved money and you saved time.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Moving forward. So that's why I wanted you to share that part of your journey. Let me ask where you're at right now. How many organizations of color are in your cohort right now?
Well, quite a few. I don't know if I could give you the exact number, but there's a number of companies from India. There are a number from Africa.
Okay.
How
many Black Canadian cohorts?
There are 2 companies from Canada, and I'm leading one of them. And the other one, the only representative I've seen is a Chinese woman. So, and there's Chinese Germans, there's Chinese French, there's Indian French, there's So there's a lot of diversity. There's a lot of color in the cohort, and we're from all over Europe. Like I said, 2 from Canada, several from the US, several from South America, several from Africa. So it's and the other thing I have to tell you, I didn't know what to expect coming to Lausanne. I'd been to Switzerland a number of times because I worked at Roche, which is in the German part in Basel. But I'd never been to the French-speaking part, and I'm blown away at how diverse this city is. I mean, everyone is here. It's French-speaking, very French-speaking, but there's people from all over the world here. So things are moving in the right direction. Let's put it that way.
Good, Ryan. Go
I'm
ahead.
curious. I don't know if you've spoken a lot to the locals because you said it was like heavy French-speaking. Have people shared what brought them to Switzerland, since it is like more diverse than you thought, and there's people from all over the world?
So I speak French, by the way.
Oh, so you're okay. Yes.
So I have spoken to a lot of the locals. There's a lot of people here for different reasons. So there's lots of Africans who have come from French-speaking countries.
Right.
There's a lot of Africans who came from non-French-speaking countries because this was a place to get ahead, to get educated. So there's 3 large universities here. So that brings a lot of people to the city. There's a lot of people from Ukraine here, and it's tough listening to their stories, I got to tell you. I've taken a couple of French classes here, and well, you can just imagine. There's a lot of women and children here, and no men from the Ukraine, but there's people from all over the place.
Let me get back to the product or products that you offer. How do they help transform people's lives?
So there's a lot of things that I think fundamentally the basis of my co-founder's research was how do we improve the health of humans, particularly humans who consume Western diets that are poor in nutrition. Right? There's a lot of things we know. Our moms all told us what to eat. Eat your vegetables, eat your fruit, eat a little bit of meat, but we eat way too many carbs and don't get enough nutrients. So this material came out of an effort to fortify the diets, the Western diet, with nutrients that we don't eat enough of. So, for example, broccoli. We all know the broccoli is very good for us. We don't like to eat enough of it. So what he's done is extracted the nutrients from the green crowns of broccoli that when we eat it, we absorb maybe 10%. I mean, there's other things in broccoli that are good for you. There's fiber and other things, but these specific nutrients, we absorb about 10% and we don't absorb the rest. So by attaching these molecules to our nanomaterial, we can now take the absorption from 10% up to 80, 90%. So a tiny amount of this powder is like eating a few bowls of broccoli. And just as an example. So that is so the idea is to create these food ingredients or nutraceuticals that fortify the diet and give us all the benefits from these plant nutrients.
Just continuing on how the product development has accelerated because of the pandemic. One of the challenges that we're now seeing, it existed already, but it's become more amplified, is food scarcity.
Yeah.
How does your product, when we see it, because I know we're going to see it in the near future, can that have a positive impact on the food scarcity crisis that a number of places in the world are having these days?
I think it can help with nutrient deficiency. But food scarcity, that's a bigger question. Okay. That's a bigger question because, there's a lot of things that we have done. We humans, all of us, have done over the last 150 years to increase food production. but the things that we have done to increase the quantity has reduced the quality. And so that is being understood now, and we're trying to reverse these problems. But the other issue is climate change. So there's places, there's farmers' fields that are not as productive as they used to be because of flooding, drought. So that's a big problem. But I think in our little way, we can improve nutrition. We can help people with high cholesterol control it better. We can likely help people who are struggling with obesity struggle a little bit less. There's a lot of things that we can do. But food scarcity, big problem. But there's a lot of, I think one of the things that makes me really excited about being part of this cohort here in Lausanne is there's a lot of people doing really cool stuff all over the world to address these issues.
Yeah, because I was sharing with Ryan the other day, actually a week ago today, had the great experience of going to a farm and picking strawberries.
Yeah. And
tasting the strawberries fresh.
Yeah.
With the natural, it's a huge farm. They grow apples, pears. There was a huge acre of sunflowers and the sunflower seeds. So I just wanted to know, how your product, if at all, can help in regards to nutrition scarcity, because it can't get more natural than just picking it right from the ground.
So, and just a question, I'll bet those strawberries tasted better than any strawberry you've ever
absolutely. And they had beans and it was just so fresh. It's just I'm sure many of us has traveled on the line here to countries, and you taste the fruit. It tastes different than when you buy it from your store.
Yeah.
And is that something that I guess your product you would introduce to farmers, or is it more to the after production of the product? Because I was curious, we're working with some farmers that have land. Is that something to introduce to them?
So that is something we are working on as well. So these would be farm-based products. So we're working on nutrition for livestock. So cows, pigs, chickens. There's a lot of problems with the production of these animals. Creates a lot of greenhouse gas. About 20% of all the greenhouse gas from human activity comes from farming.
Okay.
And there's supplements that are given to the animals that are poorly absorbed. Same sort of problem. They excrete it out into the soil and it creates greenhouse gas. We can also improve the efficiency of nutrition to plants. So fertilizers, it's the same sort of concept. You're trying to get something that plant needs to grow into the plant. And so we're working on fertilizers. We're working on pesticides that don't pollute the environment, that don't go into our water and put nitrogen and phosphorus in the water and create algae and all these other problems. So there's a lot of things that we can do that are aimed directly at farmers, for sure.
Love that. And I'm so curious about, and I want to talk a bit more about what you expect to get out of this accelerator, but the process to get in, what was the interview like? Like being, I guess, in front of these high-level climate tech type companies. I want to ask, I don't want to say how confident did you feel, but how was that process going through the interview phase?
Honestly, I have to tell you, I felt pretty confident. And it's not because I'm the smartest guy in the world. It's because we had those conversations in 2020 with really smart people from 3 or 4 really big companies. And going into those conversations, I was scared. I have to tell you. But my co-founder, he's a brilliant scientist, and he just handled all their questions beautifully. And so after that, I knew that we were on to something. So the conversations with the executives, for me were it's still intimidating. Don't get me wrong, but I kind of knew the questions that they were going to ask, and because I've worked in big companies before, I know how they think. So I felt pretty good. I felt pretty good about those conversations. I had no insight into the competition, so I knew we made the final 300, but it was still unlikely for us to get in. So when we got in, I was stunned. Actually, I couldn't believe it.
are there any companies that you've met that complement what you're doing from the other participants?
There are, yes,
Nice.
there are. And there's a couple of companies here that we will very likely be working with. One's a German company and another one's a French company.
Love
And but the other thing, I just find it so inspiring. I mean, there are people here doing incredible things. I met a company from the UK that is a food tech company that has figured out an additive that can be put into any kind of food, into chocolate, into bread or whatever, and it takes the sugar and converts it into fiber in your gut.
Wow.
So no effect on the taste. You can
Beautiful.
eat your chocolate bar, but your gut sees it as eating multigrain
Fiber.
bread.
Multigrain. That's amazing.
Like it's incredible. And there's some other cool stuff. There's another company that I've met that has these giant, I don't know, air vacuums that have a filter on them to suck carbon. So the air passes through it, it attaches the carbon, and they deposit it into the rock below. So they're literally decarbonizing the air and putting it into rock.
Interesting.
So
Whoa.
there's this cool, and actually one other cool thing on that company is that in Switzerland, they won't allow them to deposit the carbon in the rock because they're worried about what might happen. So they're using that carbon that they're capturing from the air to put into soft drinks. So your Coke, your Pepsi, your bottled water, they're sucking carbon out of the air and carbonating those drinks. Like there's just really, really awesome stuff happening.
Wait, so creating the fizz?
Yeah, yes, to create the fizz. Absolutely, to create the fizz.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So taking it out of the non-scientific realm for a moment.
Yes, I can get carried away.
No. I love it. But how important has collaboration been to your journey?
Extremely important. And I think people, it all looks great now, but remember the first 3 years were really hard. And I thought about giving up a number of times. I knew we had something, but it just, at some point it becomes financially non-viable. And, I have a wife who wants me to provide and, all of that. But so you need people to talk to. I think that's the point I want to make. So they're the on-campus accelerator at the University of Guelph and the community accelerator called Innovation Guelph are really important because you got to talk to other entrepreneurs, you got to hear their journey, and this other groups that we've been a part of over the last few years. Without their support, we couldn't have made it. And we're getting support from the federal government, from the provincial government, the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs, NRC, IRAP. There's just a lot of people that are sort of in the shadows that without them we couldn't get to where we are. So you got to collaborate and you got to talk to other people, because that's the other thing. I've got my own ideas, my own sort of scientific baggage that I've come with, which is from the pharmaceutical industry, and so that's what I thought. And if we weren't talking to other people, the agriculture opportunity wouldn't have happened. And now that's the major thing we're doing as a company.
Love that. And
So
I don't want to.
Just interesting idea of using carbon from the air for soda carbonization.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't want to dig too much into your business, but as you talked about your wife, I've started getting emotional myself, because it takes like the woman beside you and the rock for your family as you're going through this means so much. And I know for my wife, we had those conversations while I'm trying to build my thing. And I'm curious how those conversations went for you, where you have something, but the family side of it is really on the rocks. How did your wife kind of bring you through that and show you that she had your back?
Well, those are tough conversations, and they're difficult because look, this is the fourth company that I've started, and
Wow.
the previous three, one is still going. It was bought by an American company. The two before that were going, but I got kicked in the teeth in that experience. And interestingly, she saw 2 years before it happened that it was going to happen to me. She said, "You got to get out of there. That's not going anywhere." And I thought, right. What are you talking about? So you need that sober second thought. You need that, because once it happened, I was like, wow, you were right the whole time.
Whoa.
So
you married up.
Yeah, I married someone very smart, for sure.
Yes.
I married someone very smart. So, I mean, this was hard also, but you just got to have those conversations. You've got to find a way to inspire that belief in her, and in your kids. I mean, I think my kids helped me a lot, because at this point, my kids were starting university. They were starting to learn things. One of my daughters works for my company now, but she studied biology and geography at the University of Ottawa, and I was able to talk to her about stuff, and she talked to her professors, and we got these little bits of encouragement along the way to inspire you not to give up. But it's tough. Like, there's no question about it. It's tough. There's been many occasions where she said, why do you have to do this? Why can't you just find a job?
Right.
So you gotta, it's work. It's hard work.
So Tim is saying my wife is my rock, life, and business partner. I'll throw a suggestion out there for people who are in that situation. If you really believe in your goal, dream, and your desire, don't just show your pitch deck to investors. Show it to the people who you care about.
Gotcha.
Do that presentation to the people that are important, so they see. Now, they may not still agree, but at least they say how serious you are, that you've put it down, and you're not just showing it to an investor, you're showing it to someone that loves, cares about you. So that's a suggestion. It may or may not work.
So that's not just a suggestion. That is the absolute truth. That is what you've got to do, because investors are looking at the people who know you to see if they believe in you. Right?
Okay. Yes.
So it was my friends that put the money, guys that I've known for 20, 30 years, actually longer than that. I don't want to admit how old I am. And that inspires confidence in other people. And at the end of the day, you're going home to your family. You need them to be on your side. So you absolutely have to show that to the people who you love in this life, for sure.
Excellent.
100%.
Go ahead, Ryan.
So I was curious, what are you expecting to get out of this experience now with the accelerator? I'm curious, what did they promise to say, like, hey, sign up for this thing and you're going to get X? And now what are you expecting? And beyond like the networking and the connections with the other participants?
Yeah, so I actually wrote a little note on LinkedIn this morning about my first month here.
Oh, nice.
Because the accelerator said, look, we're different than most accelerators in that we're not a collection of professionals that are trying to just bestow some knowledge upon you for you to go out and do your thing. We're backed by big companies. This accelerator was started by big European companies who want new technology to advance their business. And we're promising you engagement with them, and we're promising you engagement with investors who are interested in green tech, climate tech, food tech, things that improve the health of the environment and people. And they have absolutely delivered. They have absolutely delivered. I mean, this is, we're having conversations with several large brand name Europe-based companies at a high level that could not have happened any other way. They had the first week they had an event where those companies sent executives to pitch to the cohort companies. So
Okay.
imagine this: we had Nestle and DSM and Givaudan, these big giant companies, send people here, give us a 5-minute pitch on their company and what they're looking for. And then they stayed for 2-3 hours to talk to every single person in the room that might have something. And so the companies are all having these discussions with
That's
them.
next level.
It's
Right.
That's
incredible.
next level.
Yeah.
Love that.
And they've done the same thing with the investors. So we've had a number of pitch events with the investors, but every Friday there's an online pitch the VC where 5 or 6 companies from the cohort will pitch to a real life VC. We get to hear the pitch, we get to hear the feedback. Like all of the 100 companies can listen to this, and when it's your turn, you're ready to go. So
Yes.
it's fantastic. It's like no other accelerator I've ever seen.
I'm curious, is there a round, like a seed round that you're in right now? Like, how much are you looking to raise?
So thus far, between investors and grants, we've raised about 2.5 million US for the company.
Right.
I am raising a seed round of 10 million US dollars. And so we're looking for investors and the corporate venture arm of some of these companies to come into that. And you know, we're having very good discussions with a number of players.
At this
Excellent.
point in your journey, what is the most challenging part of it right now?
The most challenging part is it's always, I think, getting other people to see what I see or to see what we see as a company. People want you to focus on one thing. And for me, we are focusing on one thing. I think of our company as UPS for living cells, right? We're the box and you can put stuff in that box and whatever is inside the box does different stuff.
Yes.
A lot of people don't like that. They say, well, you know, what if that box contains batteries and the next box contains a bicycle and the next one is cake mix? Well, I don't care. I'm just getting it to where it needs to be. So the hardest part is getting, you know, it's getting people to see what we see and to believe what we believe. But I think we're making good progress.
I'm curious, what would be your wish? Like, who would be a perfect partner for Psigryph, corporation or institution wise?
So there are several, and I want more than one. So it isn't one. Because if you're partnered with just one company, they have too much power over the direction of the company and the future of the company. So you get the best valuation if you have a few players at the table and a few players involved. So Nestle would be amazing. DSM would be amazing. BASF, Bayer, Crop Science, you know, Merck Animal Health, Boehringer Ingelheim. There's a number. There's a number of them. So any big multinational company that's in agriculture, animal health and nutrition, or food, or pharma, but pharma is sort of down the road, I think, for us a bit.
Okay.
We are talking to some pharma companies, but that's a longer, higher regulatory barrier, very expensive. So in terms of getting to market, agriculture and food are where we're going first.
Makes sense.
So you're at this part of the journey now. When do you vision you'll get the go? We'll see the next step. So when do you feel the next step, or do you have a vision? Do you have a timeline that you'd like to see the next step happen and go into the next phase?
I'd say by the end of this year. So by the end of this year, one of two things will happen, or maybe both. So first thing is that's directly under our control is that we're launching a dietary supplement in the United States, October, November time. So that will be our first, revenue generating product. And the other thing is closing the round, the 10 million round, which I'm hoping happens by the end of this year. I mean, markets have changed. There's been a little bit of a meltdown, so it might take a bit longer. But that's the next hurdle. So generating sale, if the sales of that product take off, everything again changes. We're at the next level. And if we raise to 10 million, we're again at the next level. We're going to be doing some pretty cool stuff in the Guelph area when we raise that capital.
Do you have a big concern along this at the present time?
Do I have a big concern? My biggest concern is, I guess it's always has to be running out of money. So that would be the biggest concern. I think we've got many opportunities. I only need one of them to succeed, but I'm confident more than one of them will succeed. But the biggest concern always has to be running out of money. So that's it.
Right.
So and we need revenue, we need investors.
The product that's launching in the US, so only the US, not Canada yet, or?
Only the US, because the regulatory environment in the US is more favorable than Canada.
Looser.
Yes, it's looser.
Okay, cool.
Question for you. What would the Sean of today say to the Sean 30 years ago?
Yeah, I guess that is the question, isn't it? Because I think that's what I say to my kids. The Sean of 30 years ago did not have a clue of the possibilities available to him. I did not know that I would have traveled around the world and some company or various companies would pay for me to fly business class to Asia and stay in nice hotels in Tokyo or here in Europe. I didn't know. I did not know the possibilities that were available to me. So I think the thing is, the world is your oyster, and that is precisely why I'm bringing my kids over this weekend. I want to show them what's possible. I want them to see this. This is a different country, but we've got the same melting pot here in Switzerland that we have in Toronto. We think we're the only diverse city, but and you could live here, or you could live in England, or you could live in Africa or Asia, whatever you want to do, it's possible. So I think that's what I would say. Just believe in yourself and just seize opportunities that are out there, because your mind is the thing that limits you more than anything else.
100%. Love that.
One of the things I tell people is one of the best ways to learn is to travel.
Yes, it opens your eyes to so many things, and it removes your biases. I mean, look, I'm a 50-something-year-old man. I thought this city was going to be 95% white. I had no clue, and it's not. It's everyone's here, so it's you need to travel. You need to travel to open up your eyes, for sure.
Is there anywhere else on your bucket list that you want to travel to?
There's a lot of places I want to travel to. I've never been to Carnival in Rio. I think that's something I want to experience. I've never been to Thailand or Singapore. Those are places I want to go.
Gotcha.
I've learned, actually, so since I've been here, I'm ashamed to admit this, but even though I've been to Italy, I've been to Switzerland, I've been to France, I've been to Germany, all around here, I did not know that there's an Italian-speaking part of Switzerland until I got here.
Okay.
So I went there, my second one. So I bought the Swiss pass. You can buy a Swiss pass for 300 Swiss francs and travel anywhere by train. So I went to the Italian part of Switzerland, a city called Lugano, which I'd heard of, but I obviously just assumed it was in Italy. Beautiful, stunningly beautiful city.
Yes.
And I've learned that there's a fourth language spoken in Switzerland in a remote kind of area on the east side, bordering with Austria and Hungary. So I want to go there to a city called Chur just to see what that's all about. So yeah, there's
Ray for saying good morning,
Love it.
gentlemen. Thanks for having Sean again to share his journey and process with us. I definitely respect his hustle and determination. Every failure gets us one step closer to success. And Tim is asking, what is the city called in Switzerland that I guess you're staying in?
It's called Lausanne. Lausanne. Lausanne.
And was that, you're saying, how far is that from?
It's like a 40-minute 40-minute train ride from Geneva. So everybody knows Geneva and it's very interesting here. A couple of things I picked up. So they're both on the same lake. And in Geneva, the lake is called Lake Geneva. And that's how most of us know it. Yep. And that really makes people in Lausanne angry because they call it Lake Le Mans. So you'll see no references to Lake Geneva while you're here, and it's the same body of water. And apparently they've been arguing about this for 2,000 years. So.
Come on.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well,
I love it.
We're gonna let you go because what time is it right there where you are?
It's coming up on 4 p.m. So
okay.
Yeah, it's 4. Yeah.
Was that like 16 hours? Whoa.
6 hours ahead of you guys.
Wow. All right.
Any
final words you have for our audience before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your day?
My words for the audience are dream big. And if you encounter someone who stops you, go around them. Remove them from your life and go on.
Either around them, through them, underneath them, over them. Left, right. There's many different directions. Not everything's a straight arrow.
Almost nothing's a straight arrow.
Correct.
Almost nothing.
Well, Sean, I'd like to say thank you for taking the time again. Please keep us updated. And if there's anything we can do to help them move forward, I don't ask you for VC investment. I don't got that kind of money. All right. So
all right.
I'm not that deep pockets, but if there's other things that we can help you with, please feel free to reach out and please keep us updated and have an outstanding day to you and your family. And wishing you a great time with your kids coming up this weekend.
Yes, I love that.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure, brother.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right. That was beautiful.
When's our trip to Le Mans? Lausanne.
Well, right now I don't got VC money, so I don't know about that, but no, that would be a really great trip.
Hey, the world is big, and like you said, the travel is the great mind opener. So, looking forward to doing more of that.
That would be great, and great to see the continued success he's having with moving forward in the collaborations and so entrepreneurs, this gentleman, this is his 4th business.
Yes.
4th. So don't think you're going to get it right the first time. 4th business to get it to this level.
Yes.
So do you have the fortitude? Do you have the resilience to make it happen?
100%.
What's up for the rest of the week?
Yeah, digging into admin. We have our study group.
Don't we love admin?
Yes. We have the Tuesday study group with the Black ecosystem. So looking forward to you being on one of those so we can talk more about media. But eventually, I know you're working on some stuff.
Yep.
But other than that, really looking forward to the Conversation Friday because I think our sponsor is coming on.
Ray McMillan is in the house on Friday, and he's going to be coming on once a month to talk about real estate. So if you have questions about real estate, or actually mortgages, and a bit in real estate too, from a North American perspective, especially Canadian perspective, Ray is in the hot seat. He's going to start sharing with us once a month, and this is his first appearance. So how we had Wayne Harris on last week, he'll be coming on once a month. We're going to have also now Ray coming on once a month. Also, we're looking at one or two other people to have them come on once a month. If you have any suggestions of people saying, yeah, you should have this person on once a month, hit us up. Tell us who it needs to be. So that's
it. So how's your week going? How's it looking?
Oh, well, today is crazy. Lots of things, onboarding, offboarding. Have to do some business planning. Have the coach training I have to do tonight. So today is much more open. Tomorrow, have a conversation on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. on the Dr. Vibe Show with a lady named Adrienne, who's based in New Jersey, who does vegan desserts and has over about 13,000 followers on Instagram. And so, yeah, that's cool. And then, and just other odds and ends throughout the week. And then my Saturday show, we're going to be pushing it to Sunday for the rest of the month, so people can have the participants can have full weekends. Like in the middle of the week, and they got to do this, and some other stuff we're working on. So that is about it.
Wonderful.
Hope everyone else has a good week. If you're in the GTA, survive the heat, baby. Survive the heat. Suppose you're going to get rain today, but I don't know if it's going to get rid of the humidity. So stay in touch with us. Thanks everyone who watched live on the replay. It's appreciated, not taken for granted. You can catch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and Facebook, the Afro-Caribbean Business Network on Facebook and YouTube, and Ryan Oneil Knight on YouTube. And it's so good to see. It was so good to see Ryan. What a media personality. All these people talked to him on Saturday. I should have filmed some of it, but I do have some pictures. I eventually got to get it out. One other thing too, I was trying to remember the name of the business of the lady who sells aroma stuff and things like that. Sorrel and Sage is the name of the business. Joanne does an amazing job. Sorrel and Sage. So thank you, Christopher. Christopher was on point. He made sure every business we mentioned, he had them right there to promote them. So he knows the hustle. So as always, we like to say this: live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher and wider. Love, faith, and respect. And remember to give yourselves grace, and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. We will see you on Friday. No, I'm not a good singer. Bye.